Alicent in this episode reminded me of all the white women that actively fought against affirmative action, only to get it overturned to realize, oh, affirmative action helped white women just as much as they did black people. Oops. And welcome to my Safe Gayven, everybody. Thank you guys so much for clicking on another video and joining me here on the BlackGayComicGeek channel. If this is your first time checking out my channel, thank you so much for joining me. Let me introduce myself. My name is Michael. I call myself the BlackGayComicGeek, and I always say the things I love to talk about on my channel has blood, sex, gore, and magic, or any variation of the four. So I like to talk about fantasy. I like to talk about superheroes, horror movies, video games, and of course I like to talk about black representation and queer representation. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you think representation matters, if you think representation equals normalization, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button so I can continue to grow this channel. I am this close to hitting 9,000 subscribers, so help me get to that point by subscribing, and also you can help me get to that point by hitting that like button on this video and every video that you see and come across with me, because that tells YouTube to push the video, to push the channel, so more eyes can get on the video and get on the channel. Like I always say in every video or most videos, watch, share, like, comment, interact for the all gay rhythm. So with that, guys, we are here to talk about episode 5 of House of the Dragon, called The Seeds of the Dragon. If you haven't watched my review last week for episode 4 of House of the Dragon, the Red Dragon and the Gold, I mentioned that, because if you see my channel, I haven't reviewed any other episode of House of the Dragon because I wasn't watching the show when the show was out. And so right before episode 4, or right before season 1 rather, or season 2, I finally caught up with the show. But then by the time I caught up, I was like, is it too late to start reviewing? Because I missed episodes 1, 2, and 3. But then I was like, you know what? Depending on how my review of episode 4 does, I'll review the rest of the season. And it did decent. It didn't do great, but it did decent enough where there was some interest. I was like, you know what? I'll do episode 5. What the hell? So with that, let's talk about episode 5 of House of the Dragon. Spoilers for this review. But hold up, Forbes is telling me the episode is called The Seeds of the Dragon, but then HBO Max says this episode is called Regent. Either way, we're talking about season 2, episode 5. Now, Krispy Kreme donut, this guy's getting on my nerves. Like, every single time you turn around, he's always making some dumb decisions. I mean, technically speaking, because his battle was smart last week in that he did end up taking out not only a dragon, but he ended up taking out one of their best soldiers in Meleys and Rhaenys. So I guess technically that was smart. He didn't plan on Aegon being there, but Aegon being there had them losing Sunfire. And Team Green doesn't have that many dragons compared to Team Black. They don't have any dragons that they could lose, so it ended up messing up the battlefield in that sense, and they lost about 900 men. But I guess you compare 900 men to one dragon, you want to take out the dragon, who cares about the men? Men can be replaced, but for the most part, they can't just easily get dragons. So I guess that was smart, but he still needs to die. And every episode that he's there, he's not dead, I'm more upset. But like, him parading around Meleys to King's Landing was probably the dumbest decision they've ever made. And then for him to be confused that the people weren't praising the death of this dragon. First of all, like, even that guy or one of the peasants or one of the townspeople were like, but I thought dragons were gods. So basically, because even Team Black, their strength is the fact that they too have dragons. And same with Rhaenyra, the Targaryens, their strength is the fact that they have dragons. And people look at dragons as these huger than life, majestic and godlike creatures. If you're showing that they're fallible, if you're showing they're just beasts, or like that one guy said, they're just meat, why should they fear you? Why shouldn't they take you out? And this also kind of makes me think this is probably what leads to Robert Baratheon becoming the leader or the next king during Robert's rebellion for Game of Thrones, because the dragons are just meat. Because even during this time, they don't really have scorpions to take out the dragons, because maybe they think dragons are gods. You can't take out a dragon. But now this is probably the birth or the genesis of saying, oh, dragons can be defeated. So this was stupid, and this is definitely going to backfire. Speaking of something else that's going to backfire, from a filmmaking perspective, this scene was so beautifully shot. But like I mentioned in the intro, Alicent, when she tried to take over for her son, as the Queen Regent, being that Aegon is incapacitated and might possibly die from being so stupid and fighting in that war. But her realizing that, oh, this place was sexist. Remember, the whole reason that we're in this situation in the first place because they didn't want Rhaenys to be queen, the queen that never was. Had she have been queen in the first place, Leonor would have been her successor. He would be king right now. Or actually, yeah, because she would still be alive right now. And she would have a bunch of other sons and daughters that are quote unquote legitimate, unlike Rhaenyra's children. But we as the audience know those are not Leonor's kids. Those kids are bastard children. But if it wasn't for the sexism of the world, she would be queen right now and we wouldn't be dealing with this war. And so Alicent is kind of realizing like, oh yeah, this is all my fault. And now I'm trying to reap the benefits of what I started. And I'm realizing, oh yeah, I'm still a woman at the end of the day. Like I said before, it's no different than white women actively fighting against affirmative action, not realizing or only to eventually realize affirmative action has helped white people just as much as it's helped black people, or the white women that are riding, dying for their husband as they're lynching and unaliving a bunch of black folk and fighting and here for all the racist policies and all that other stuff, only to find out that their husband is sleeping with a black woman or a black man on the side. It's literally the same thing. It's coming back to bite you in the ass. The chickens are coming home to roost, as Malcolm X famously said. And the look that Alicent gives when Aemon tells his council to close off the gates to trap the people inside, like the look of horror on her face of her realizing that, yeah, there's a monster on the throne right now. And going back to when she realized that Rhaenyra is the actual successor and that Viserys didn't actually mean Aegon, his son. He meant Aegon the Conqueror. It's, again, all the chickens are coming home to roost for her in terms of this plot that she enacted to help put Aemon or Aegon on the throne. You stupid. Even her boy toy, having her boy toy, Sir Krispy Kreme, turn on her and not vote to put her on the throne, voting to put Aemon on the throne, and basically casting her aside. Again, your chickens are coming home to roost and you deserve everything that you get. You know the phrase, have the day you deserve? Well, Alicent, you're finally having the day you deserve. But I will say one good thing that Aemon did as the king. He finally got rid of the rat catchers that was still hanging around the town square. That should have never been a thing in the first place, but I guess that was one good deed that he did. But of course, jumping to the beginning of the episode, we see Sir Corlys, Lord of the Tides, mourning the death of his wife, Rhaenys. And like, this man can't catch a break. He lost his wife. He lost his daughter. He thinks his firstborn son is gone and dead and been murdered. And part of me kind of wonders, like, because we know Sir Leonor is still alive. And I'm just like, being that he is still alive, and this is, a lot of times with these TV shows, when you think a character is gone, they end up coming back. I was trying to think of a scenario that would make sense of what could possibly have Sir Leonor come back. And the only thing that I could think of that would make sense, because right now, the only reason that Daemon and Rhaenyra were able to wed is because they think Sir Leonor is no longer alive. And so because of that death, because divorce doesn't exist in this world, so because of that, that's why Daemon and Rhaenyra were able to wed. And with everything that's going on with Daemon and Harrenhal and him moving super strange and basically trying to usurp Rhaenyra's throne because of the sexism of the world, and he thinks he's better suited to rule than a woman and all that other stuff. And then also he's wanted the throne from the beginning. He's been vying for the Iron Throne since the first episode. I'm like, the only way it would make sense for Sir Leonor to come back is if somehow Daemon does usurp the Iron Throne from Rhaenyra. Now the only way his claim could be said is illegitimate is if we find out that he's not actually her legitimate husband, because Sir Leonor returns, and with Sir Leonor coming back, that means the annulment of their marriage or the legitimacy of the marriage between Rhaenyra and Daemon is no longer a legitimate marriage, and so that would make Sir Leonor the actual king consort for the Iron Throne. So then Daemon can't make any more claim or take over the throne anymore or be the man to rule the Iron Throne. That's the only other way I could think of that would allow his character to come back. But we'll see. Who knows? He might not come back. But Daemon's definitely moving. Typical for Daemon. But the way he was looking at, what's her name? Elise, the witch woman that had him saw those visions, I was like, I feel like they're going to sleep together. I think he's going to cheat on Rhaenyra. And it's not like that's above Daemon. He cheated on his first wife with that woman that was the queen of the rat catchers. I can't think of her name. When he lied that she was pregnant, he cheated on his first wife with her, and also him. Granted, he doesn't know what she looks like. I don't think because they said you never met your mother. But just the fact that him dreaming about having sex with his mother, I was just like, even though I can't be disgusted because they're Targaryens, like that's what they do. But I was just like, oh my God. Like, what am I watching right now? But this is Game of Thrones. This is the same world with Cersei and Jaime, brother and sister, were sleeping together. Like, this is par for the course. This is normal. This is absolutely not uncommon for this world. I mean, hell, even Daemon and Rhaenyra, like this uncle and niece, like this is like it is so sad. It is so crazy how normalized it is for this world, and then how normalized they made it for viewers. That it's just like, yeah, Daemon and Rhaenyra, they're married. Like, who cares? Like, who cares? Or even like Jaehaerys and Baela, like they're betrothed and they're cousins. Like, again, who cares? But I love that Rhaenyra called out her court because, especially that one guy, I'm bad with names, but like him trying to disregard her because she's a woman and she doesn't know anything about war, and war is a man's game. And like these men thinking they know more than her. And I'm glad she called them out. Like, when my father was ruling, it was a time of peace. You know just as much about war than I do. You don't know anything about war, just like I don't know anything about war, because that's not what we're used to. So good for her. But like, even like every time you turn around, there's these men that's trying to do and move around her behind her back. Even her son, Jacaerys. Now, granted, he's doing it for her own best interest and he's trying to help her out. So I appreciate him trying to step up more. But I definitely feel like this bargain that he made with the Tullys is going to backfire because he's making promises that he can't keep. Like invoking Daemon and Daemon's dragon and this whole thing. We don't even know if Daemon's on their side. Or actually, we do know. Daemon's moving. He's not on their side. He's moving to try to put himself as the king and the one that's going to rule the Iron Throne, not Rhaenyra. But overall, I don't really have much else to say about this episode because this episode was kind of like the Forbes magazine name that they called it, The Seeds of the Dragon, even though, like I said, HBO Max says it's called Regent, but that's basically what this episode was, just planting seeds and setting things up to come after the fall and the death of Meleys and Rhaenys. So there's a lot of table setting in this episode with putting Aemon on the throne. And then this idea that happens at the end where they're going to get like the second cousin wants to remove him who, like, my cousin's best friend's niece's sister's auntie's cousin's father, who has small amount of Targaryen blood, to try to be dragon riders. But I'm also curious about that. Obviously, it's a TV show, so more than likely it's going to happen. But I thought in order to be a dragon rider, not even just the fact that you had to have Targaryen or Valyrian blood, but you had to speak the Valyrian language, like Dracarys, and like they speak to them in the High Valyrian language, and that's the only way that you can control and ride a dragon. So like, even if you are, a descendant of a Targaryen, do you know High Valyrian, or does that not matter? Just so long as you have the blood. I guess maybe, because now that I think about it, because Jon Snow didn't know Valyrian, and he still rode a dragon. So actually, never mind. I take that back. Never mind. But also, Jon Snow was a more pure-blooded Targaryen than generations past. But we know that more dragon riders are coming because they got dragons in the basement. They got their, a bunch more dragons. So we'll see what comes of that. Like, Team Black has way more dragons than Team Green. So I'm rooting for Team Black, Targaryen. So we'll see what happens in episode 6. But in case there's anything I missed, what did you guys think about this episode? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section below. If this is one of your first time checking out one of my videos, check out the other videos on my channel. If you like what you see, please subscribe for more and hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. Tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.